What's up, Capstone family? Friday, May the 10th, 2024. Thanks for pushing play and subscribing on YouTube if you haven't already. Let me start this video off by saying congratulations to Julie here in the office. Julie's amazing, but today she is celebrating 4 years with Capstone. That's awesome. Here in the office, we call it the Capiversary, and the team got, some amazing flipping cupcakes. A couple of them were even gluten-free, so it felt pretty good about myself. And yeah, it's not every day that I'm eating cupcakes these days, so thinking it. Hey, congratulations, Julie. Love it. We couldn't do this and wouldn't be what this is right now without her. Hey, so getting into the market and what's going on right now, I think we're seeing a lot of things happening in the market that are tied directly to the luxury market being very, very, very busy and the rest of the market doing okay. Now, depending on who you ask, if you see what's happening on the luxury market, it seems that it's just continued to go gangbusters. And in the next month, we'll start to see that peter out just like it always is. The market as a whole is starting to hit this plateau like it does. And, the luxury market pretty much stalls out in most summers because it just slows down completely. And then we'll start picking up again towards the end of the year when the season gets good, when the weather gets good again. So it'll be interesting in seeing what happens to our numbers as a whole. When you're hearing data about the real estate market and how strong it is here in the Valley, I think that it's artificially being propped up right now by luxury properties. I think overall, yes, looking at the data, we are seeing movement across all markets in that space, across all price points. However, when it comes to the average price per square foot and the increase, I think that increase is artificially high right now because of the luxury market. Just what I think is happening. So a couple things, when you're buying right now, if you're planning on buying in this market, I think an interesting thing and one thing to really be considering is your financing and who you're competing with. When it comes to competition, we're seeing a lot of very, very interesting options for people to be able to get into houses again. We're seeing people buying with, first mortgages and then even HELOCs, right? We're starting to see things where the rate buy downs and the structuring of the deal is super, super, super important. So the conversation between lenders and their agents is of the utmost importance. I stress a lot with clients that we're talking to, whether investors or primary buyers, and even sellers for that matter, what is going to be the hardest part of the transaction is in my opinion, is always tied somehow to the financing right now, whether it's the pain and shock of higher interest rates or, what is that going to look like if there's competition. Right now, one thing we're not seeing a lot of is contingent offers. Why? Because they're just not getting accepted. It's just not even worth it. Also, if you're planning on buying a property that is call a 1031 exchange, you're buying an investment property. If you're buying here in the Phoenix area, you got to know what the Phoenix market is doing so that you're not basing every decision just on timelines. So right now, if I was doing a 1031 exchange here in the Valley and I had to deploy those resources here in the Valley, I am going to be so ahead of the game that I am going to have something locked up and in contract before my 45 days even comes close. So with the 1031 exchange, you've got to find 3 like-kind properties within 45 days of closing on the previous property, right? So in theory, you've got to have 3 addresses to the 1031 intermediary, and with one of those 3 properties, you have to then close on one of those within the next 6 months. The problem with that, as you can probably see from what I've explained so far and what we're talking about in this market, is anything in the price point, if it's a decent property, there's probably competition. There is a shortage of housing here in the market. There's still a shortage of demand. However, at some price points, like it's just hard to find good inventory, and the stuff that's sitting is either overpriced or just not, well, it's overpriced. So when you're finding the deals, they're going to have a lot of competition. And if we're waiting to put something on a 45-day list and we're counting on one of those still being available to lock up and close and get through inspections and do all of that after the 45 days, we've totally missed the opportunity. By the time the 45 days rolls around, I want to make sure that I'm closing on one of those 3 properties and not the other way around. So there's something to think about there. Every market's different, but in this market right now, that's why it's good to keep up with the pulse of what's happening in this market. And fortunately, we've got so much going on all the time that it keeps it very relevant and in our faces as to what we should be paying attention to. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was, just financing and knowing the difference between how you're going to be purchasing a property. If you're going to be buying with investor rates, what does that really look like? The sticker shock for most people right now when it comes to financing is significantly more than you think it is, because most of us just haven't financed for at least a couple of years, right? And not only does it change, your payment, but debt to income ratios, and there's so many different things that are affected by, how much you can qualify for in most cases. So definitely something to think about, and making sure that the alignment that you have with agent, lender, insurance person, right? This was a year, I know I brought that up earlier this year, but it's like this year also insurance is just getting absolutely jacked. So, I think here in the Phoenix area, I saw some stat that we were at like 57% increases for over the last 3 years here in town. So it's like, okay, just making sure that when you're buying something or you're selling something, you know what that's going to really do to you from an insurance standpoint and all standpoints, right? Cool. I hope this was helpful. Hopefully it's something to think about. If there's something we can answer for you on any of these topics, let me know. Feel free to schedule one-to-one. I'd love to connect with you in strategy and figure out what works for you. That's kind of where they put me in here at the office these days. The team is growing. The team is dynamic. Again, congrats to Julie. For all you mothers out there, happy Mother's Day. I hope you're going to be enjoying it with those that you love. And Mom, love you. See ya.